Hey, it's David back from Breeze Flippers. Back in my office, it's the midweek update. I have a few things I want to share today. First of all, I had a sale that came through last minute on Sunday night that saved my weekend. I want to share that and tell you a little bit about that and where it came from. Also, had a couple good sales this week so far. Very interesting. Sold a couple comics. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about AI. And I know some people are tired of hearing about AI, but I did something with AI. It's a little different, and I want to talk about that. So let's get into it.
Ship it, wear Breeze Flippers, keep it moving, find it, flip it, ship it.
All right, so first of all, it was going to be a pretty bleak weekend, but later that evening after I finished the video and got everything done, I had a sale come through that actually made me feel pretty good. I'll pop it up on the screen because I obviously shipped it out already on Monday, but I did sell a 2025 Masters Golf Tournament Mini Gnome. It's the little one. So it was from the Augusta National patron exclusive for this year. So in the 2025 version. So it's just a little guy, and it was really cute. He sat on my shelf for a while. I didn't really think he was going to sell, but I ended up getting $109.99 for that. It went out on an offer, and it did sell via promoted listing. But interestingly enough, out of all the sales that were going on, we only had a few sales over the whole week that sold on promoted listings. So, and this week, none of the sales have been on promoted listings. So very interesting. I think it's, again, I'm holding back to that. It's 50-50. So I talked about promoted listings last time. I do think it's 50-50, and I'm okay with that right now because I'm getting traffic that I wouldn't otherwise get. So we'll go with it. So that was what went out on Sunday, and it ended up being a pretty good week. So that actually took my, I think, week total to almost $400. So I was a little better than nothing. So it ended up getting a pretty decent little check out of that. So this week, though, it started to pick up a little bit, but you know, it's just, again, this is the slow period. So, and that's going to be part of my talk today is like, I'm going through and redoing a whole bunch of listings. I'm pulling down a whole bunch of listings. I'm selling some of those things on Dibdit. I'm going to be having a Dibdit Threads auction on Wednesday night, which this will already be out, and it'll be out and that'll be over before then. But I'm also doing another comic auction on Thursday night at 7 p.m. So I think that's going to be a great one. I'm bringing some new Lady Death posters and stuff. So that'll be fun. And if you're not there yet, go to dibdit.com, dibdit.com. You can use Breeze Flips, get $5 off your first $10 purchase. So I know I say that a lot. I'll say it every time, but I kind of hope somebody will come in there and say, hey, I saw your video and I'm here at your show, and that would be so cool. So anyway, if you get a chance, check us out. But so I'm doing a lot of stuff with that. So that's what my talk here in a few minutes. After we share what sold, I want to talk a little bit about AI and kind of get into it and tell you what I did, just because I'm trying to improve listings and improve the ones that I have in there, but you know, trying to learn from it as well. So we'll talk about that. But let's talk about real quick what sold. First of all, Monday I sold a video game, and this one's a good game. So again, these are already shipped, so I'll pop these things up on the screen. But I sold a Jack and Daxter, the Lost Frontier from a PS2. It's a 2009, complete tested. So we test the PS2s because I have a PlayStation 2 that I picked up and it worked and it's great. So I can throw a disc in, just see if it loads and does everything. It's perfect. So did test that. It sold for $22.99. I got $4.99 shipping for that. So that went out on Monday. So that's a good one to look out for if you ever see it. Jack and Daxter. So kind of cool. Also Monday, I guess, actually Monday night, I sold another comic. So this is an Alien #2. It was pretty good shape. It was near mint, but I didn't want to put near mint. I put a VF plus near mint, but it's from Marvel 2021. It's a Marco Maestrazzo exclusive trade variant, and it's a cool looking comic. It went out for $17.09, and that's with free shipping. Again, comics cost me about $5, typically about $5.50 to ship. And then the box that I use, which are Gemini mailers and all the packing, anything else in there, I'm in about for a buck, maybe $1.25 or so. I just kind of round off the top of my head about $6.75 to ship. So that's what I try to factor in on the prices. This comic wasn't very expensive. It's a nice looking comic, but it's probably, in reality, maybe a $9 $5 comic, maybe. So maybe 10s. But anyway, it's just, you know, somebody wants it for the artwork. It's definitely cool artwork. So anyway, that went out. And then I also sold, this guy's been in here for a while, and I picked him up at a garage sale. I had no idea who he was until I got home and looked him up. But he's a Fortnite Tomato Town Legends, the Brat hot dog. He's a loose action figure. I've had a lot of offers back and forth on this thing, and there's been a lot of comps on it, which is kind of crazy, and I didn't even realize it. When I just saw it, I just picked it up because it was unique, but I didn't even look it up. I thought, this will sell. It's something different, right? So I pick up those loose figures, and I always try to either group them together or something. Well, this one wasn't bad. I did ended up selling it for $13.99, and I believe that went out with free shipping, but it cost a total of $4.29 to ship, so not a bad deal. The last thing that sold, and I have this one because it hasn't gone out yet. It's going to go out today. I did sell another graded comic. This one was kind of, well, it's kind of bittersweet. This one was actually behind me for the longest time up there, and I replaced it with the Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man. I can't remember what number that is, 430, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, I replaced it with that one, but which is kind of cool because it seems like when I put one up, they eventually sell. So, which, you know, this one is cool though. This is Venom number 23, and it is a let's see, it's an Amazing Spider-Man number 300 cover homage. So this is definitely a pretty cool one, but Venom number, well, actually it says it's a Venom number 223 and Amazing Spider-Man 300 cover homage. So yeah, so you're actually getting two kind of, and I'm sorry about the glare. We'll try to do it this way. Anyway, but yeah, that's kind of a cool looking comic. And it's definitely a neat one. It's a foil. This is a special foil edition. I think they call it a Mayhew foil edition. So, but 9.8. So definitely cool. And it is a Unknown Comics. So these guys have some pretty cool, pretty good artwork stuff. They do some, basically you get comics from them. So you get them all. They're kind of customized by what they do. But anyway, definitely cool. I don't pay very much for it, actually. I got the comic itself and I had it graded, so I'm into it for about, that was at the time when I was getting all of them graded for really cheap, so I probably have $35 in the whole thing, so not bad. Got $80 for it plus free shipping. It'll cost about $9 to ship, so made a little bit of money on it, and that's okay. You know, again, some of these, as long as I'm in the profit on them, I'm not making huge money. These aren't ones I plan on making huge money. This isn't a it's sought after for, you know, something to look at and hang on the wall, but it's not something that probably, you know, is going to get a lot of attention if you were to find an actual, you know, ASM 300 or something that would, you know, do really, you know, that's what a collector's looking for. So I'm sure that somebody just wanted this, but it was kind of cool because the guy sent me an offer, and I think I had a little bit more on it because the price had come down since I had listed it. So this is one of the things I'm going to talk about, is going through and relisting things and fixing things. Now this is one I hadn't gotten to in a while, and the price last year, the fair market value was probably in the 110 range, and then this year it had dropped down considerably to about $55 or $60. So the guy sent me an offer for $80, and he says, I'm seeing these for $70 on eBay, but I want to buy from you, which made me feel really good. So I thought, well, that's awfully nice of you. So, you know, it made me feel good enough to, you know, just say, yeah, I'll take the $80 offer. So, and all of that was sold this week, the game, the two comics, and the little Fortnite guy, none of them sold with promoted listings. So a little extra money in my pocket. Oh, I didn't say too, but the Alien number 2 actually is going to England. So it's an overseas. So if you're not in the eBay international shipping program, you're missing out on some sales. I make at least 2 to 3 sales a month on that program. So people want your stuff, you know, wherever they're at. So definitely get into it and take a look at it. So, all right, so I'm going to move something around here so I can read my screen. But I did do some, analysis, and I'm going to tell you what I did. I'll share the prompt that it creates with you, and I'll also share the best practices and the traits that come out of this. But I wanted to, you know, so one of the things that got me thinking was, I'm really thinking a lot about how my store's performing. Now I've done well. I think I've sold over 3,000 items the past 3 years that we've been doing this, seriously doing this. We've done very, very well. We're almost 3,500 items, and we've got 100% feedback. We've done good. Okay, I'm not complaining. We've gone up every year on our sales. But, I want to be able to take that kind of to the next level, because in order for my wife to retire, in order for me to retire at some point, we have retirement. We have retirement money. I don't want to touch some of that stuff until later in my life, because I don't want to have to rely on it and use it up, because I plan on living a long time. I hope everybody does. So, so I want to be able to have a, fun life and actually retire at that point. So my retirement in my head is that I want to do this full time. I want to do videos. I want to sell. I want to buy. I want to run auctions. I love doing it. It's a fun, fantastic, fun time. So I want to improve my store. So one of the things I keep looking at is like, okay, I go through and I look at these very successful sellers. Now, I'll throw out one successful seller that I look at a lot, and that's Tech and Sports. If you're not watching him, you should. His videos are very teachy, and he's very sure of himself, but he's really good. And so you get a chance to watch him, I would go definitely look him up and watch some of his stuff. And he's also one of the ones that's coming out with an AI lister pretty soon that I like to evaluate. And I hope that one of these are the work that's gonna, not for me so much to do the listing. I want my wife to do the listings, because she can feel comfortable going in there and doing these. But I did go in and do some research, and I used AI to do this. And I'm not going to share the exact prompt, because it doesn't really matter, because you can create this prompt as well. But what I created out of it was what I'm going to share with you, which is another prompt to do eBay listings, but it's based on the review that I had it do. So what I did is I picked 6 successful sellers. Now I'm not going to go through and list them. Obviously Tekken's one of them, but I'm not going to list all of them, because I don't want their stores to be blown up. And you got to make your own decisions on who you think is successful and what you think success is. I look at it and say, how many sales have they had over how many years, and what's their percentage of customer satisfaction, and all the different things that they have. And I also look at how many store followers they had. And so to me, that's a sign of success. I would love to have 2,500, 3,000, 22,000, whatever some of these sellers have for followers on their stores, because they don't need to do much promoting. As soon as I put something out there, they'll get notified. eBay sends out in notifications. You get notifications from sellers that you follow. So they're always going to be there. So I think, especially if you have that many followers, they're looking at your store all the time. So I know we only have about 250 something odd followers. So, but I do know that some of those people look at our store regularly. So it's interesting, especially the ones that are buying things like comics. I do have some repeat buyers for comics and games. We've had a lot of repeat buyers for games. So those are things that I'm looking at for success. So what I basically did is I said I wanted an analysis of these stores. And I said the end goal is to use eBay best practices for listings and analyze these successful sellers to come up with a prompt that tells me exactly how to create the highest ranking and successful eBay listings. So I said I want you to list out these best practices so they can be shared. And then I also said that I want to create a prompt from this that will create a listing from the description, photo, or barcode, and it'll help you to basically build the best listing you can. So I went through and did that, ran those stores, and sure enough, it came back with, which is funny to me. So eBay's best practices has been, this is, I guess, is confirmation for me, right? I should have known that it was going to come up with this answer, because it should have been the right answer to begin with. These guys don't have the secret sauce. They're just using what eBay says is the best practice. So here's what they said. So basically it came back and said that use keyword optimized titles. Okay, best practice. Start with the brand, model, variant, and condition and grade before any price terms. Okay, so starting with the brand, model, variant, and condition. That's exactly what eBay says to do, right? So pretty much on everything, little variations, whether it's a clothing item or a hard good or a toy or a game or something, but for the most part, it's brand, model, and variant, right? So that wasn't really surprising to me. It's just like, okay, so here are these successful sellers, and analyzing all their listings, it came back with the exact same thing that eBay tells you. So it tells us we need to be doing it. And I look at some of my listings and I'm thinking, they don't fit that completely, right? I mean, I think I try to follow those best practices, but if you use a sell similar a lot of times, which I do, sometimes you're not changing that stuff around. Well, you know, somebody else sold it that. I always think that might be successful, but it's not necessarily true. So that was the first thing. The next thing is come back and it said professional and abundant photos. All right, so this one I find interesting because some people will say, just get the bare minimum of photos. What is the bare minimum? 2, 4, 8, 6? I don't know really, right? So me, I'm allowed 24 photos. So I'm going to take probably more photos than I need to. However, I think the most important thing to do is your hero photo, which is the first one. It's always called the hero. That should be your best photo. Now, is it always going to be straight on? Is it always going to be like right there, square? Okay, it should take up the frame, right? That's what it should do, the whole frame. But it should be at a appeasing enough angle that it gets attention, right? So if everybody's taking it straight on, maybe you want to tilt it a little. Maybe you want to turn it just to the side a little bit. You know, I've learned that with hats, you know, taking them straight on or taking them at an angle. And I started taking them at angles. And it seemed like I got a better picture, right? So that's going to be up to you, but it said abundant photos. So eye-catching multi-photo galleries, often with a clean background and close-ups of serial numbers, grading labels, or condition hallmarks. Okay, so anything that's special about it or anything that's damaged about it, you want to bring that up. And typically I always bring that up in the first or second photo, in the second photo at least. It's because on an app, if you notice, you'll get, I think, 3 photos. You'll get the hero and then a few others or right below it, so they can always see that on the app. On a desktop, you can probably see them a little bit more, or you might just see, you know, 1 or 2, however, but you kind of hover over that, you can kind of see what they see. So look and see what they see, and then make sure your most important photos are the ones up front. Next one was detailed item descriptions and specs. Now, I see a lot of sellers that do really well and they have nothing in their description. So it makes me interesting. It makes me wonder if that's maybe an anomaly or something that's coming on. But the ones that I had them verify, they kind of look at, that had AI study, gave back and said they had detailed item descriptions and specs. Now, that means also your item details. Make sure you fill out enough of those. And then the specs. So full breakdowns, including release year, platform, grading, if there's grading like on comics or any kind of collectibles, their condition, packaging details, and even personality a little bit. So seller assumes responsibility for blah, blah, blah. So a lot of that was in some of their listings. So me personally, on my listings, I use templates. I have about 6 templates, very simple ones, like a standard template. I have a comic template because I want to have that. I have a clothing template. So all that template is the stuff at the bottom, right? Everything else I add to the top. So whether it be the title, the information, the details, all that stuff, it goes in there. But I pop the template in there first, then I drop that in. Okay, so that saves me a lot of time. I don't have to type all that. So if you're not using templates, you should take a look at them on eBay. It's not hard to do. Once you pull up a listing page, you go down to the description section. There's a drop down. You can create a template. Very simple. Use that template over and over and over. So, and you can create as many as you need. I have one for plush. I have one for books and media. So this is whatever kind of works, but I kind of grouped them in that category and I'm able to, you know, use the same thing. So basically all it does is it covers who we are as far as what we stand behind and how we ship. That's really the biggest thing, right? So anyway, interesting, but you always take a look at it. Feel free to take a look at my store. You can see my listings and most of them have that. Very few without exception have that. So then it says that, so anyway, it gave that and it said condition grading. So it said use an auction standard terms like brand new, good, which, you know, buyers trust. So it kind of gives the buyer confidence, right? So if you're using these standard terms that everybody knows, it just adds that customer confidence. Seller reputation and assurance, high feedback scores, 99 plus, and policies, returns, money back guarantees are consistently highlighted. So that's something that's probably pretty good, right? So personally, my personal belief is that some people don't believe 100% feedback scores. Some people believe it. I think if you have anything above, honestly, I think if you're above 96%, 95%, I think that would be realistic to most people. If you have 100%, you're doing great. I have 100% again, but that doesn't mean it can't change, right? And so And I understand that, I mean, it's one of those things where we didn't have 100% for the longest time because I had one on there that eBay wouldn't take down, even though it wasn't something I did. I sent something international. They stopped it before it went, and they didn't give us a reason why. The guy got mad because he said I didn't ship to Canada. Leaves me a bad review. eBay should have taken it off. That was one time eBay didn't have my back, and I just didn't feel like fighting it. I knew it would come off here anyway. So, and then the other one was, it seems very obvious, but this is the biggest one: competitive pricing and best offer. So start with realistic buy it now prices, but always be open to offers. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So that attracts both hardened buyers and bargain hunters. Now, that was something I hadn't been doing for a while, and I've just recently changed it. Now, I always had offers on for the longest time, and then I got tired of offers. I just got tired of people sending me these crazy lowball offers. But then I started going back and looking at it going, how many of those crazy lowball offers actually turn into sales? So again, another tool I use is and I'll have to look it up and make sure. It's called Text Blaze. All right, so if you're not using this tool, you can use it for free for like 20 snippets, I think, for 20 snippets. There's a link in my bio. Please go take a look at it. I did have somebody sign up from that. So, and I do get a little bit if you do sign up. So thank you for that. It's not that much to pay for a year either. I think it's $39 a year, I believe, $39.99. But then you can have unlimited number of snippets. And it's just, all it is a short keyboard shortcut. So like a // and 2 letters or 3 letters. And you can type those in really quick, and it puts the text snippet in there. I have a text snippet for so many things like item descriptions. I have a text snippet for comics because I have 3 gradings for comics. I have the low, medium, and high grades. I don't want to write that every time because it's a good sized amount of information in there, and I just basically go in and write it. Because for the most part, either comic is either a low grade, a medium grade, or a high grade. If it's a high grade, there shouldn't be that many issues on it, right? So I can say it's from a VF to a near mint, right? So that's where I listed. I say this is a higher grade comic. You need to look at the pictures. That's why I include tons of pictures too. So, but I do that with all my items. So I have that set up for different things, for video games, for all these different things, because I want the pictures to tell you what's going on with it. So that's why I use a lot of pictures. But I've been recently changing it and starting offering and doing the back to the offers again, right? I've been using that, but I use that Text Blaze to send out offers. And in my offer, I've written it out. So I got almost to the number of characters. I think it's 200. I have a whole bunch of these different ones. So like if I have an item on sale, I've typed /BF, and this is, and I think BF, I had it standing for, price breakdown. So I can't remember what it was, but BF just worked for me before something or another. Anyway, and that basically says, hey, this is an additional, and I offer an additional 5%. So I never offer the full amount on a sale discount item. Like I don't do 30% or 35%. I'll do 25%, but I know I'd sell it for 30%. So I'll send that 5% offer, and it makes it look like they're getting it. And it says that you're getting this additional 5% on top of our already marked down price. And so that's what the whole little snippet says. And that's sends it out. And then it also says, hey, follow our store for more deals and for personal deals and such. So I use that on every time I send out an offer. So I've started doing more send out offers. I'm not finding a lot of lowball offers. The little hot dog guy came in as a lowball offer. He offered $7. I'm like, I can't take $7 for it. That's why I sent it back. I think whatever I ended up selling it for, I said, this is the best I can do. You got free shipping. And people think free shipping is free. They don't understand that. But if you tell them, hey, I can't do that, this is what it's going to cost me to ship, so they're usually pretty receptive to that. And then he bought it, he wanted it, so they know they're getting a good deal. So anyway, I use Text Blaze on all my offers, and now I put offers on everything. Even the free stuff that's got free shipping, I'll still put offers on it, let them send it out. So anyway, those are the ideas. Those are six of the findings that it said, the most common traits, right? And then it created a best practices that I could share. So again, I'll put these in the show description because again, I think they're important, but like craft smart SEO titles, that was the one. So brand, model, variant, condition grade, all that information. Use 12 to 16 photos. It says back, front, side, UPC, all that. Structured bullet specs, platform, year, edition, include extras, any condition information, any information that you want to include, sizes, for clothing, whatever. Structured bullet points, again, I already said that, but explicit condition grading. So using standard terms like new, like new, used, make sure that you're putting your condition in there. Either any shipping and returns clarity so that people understand. They want that confidence in buying. Now, I know a lot of people don't read the complete description, but I like to have it in there in case they do, so that you know that you've called out exactly what it is. Again, you promote trust, you include best offer options, and then prompt encouragement and collections. So encourage followers or watchers and add favorites for new listings. Or add to favorites for new listings. So that was one of the things that it was another one that came out of there that said, prompt, ask him, just ask. That's why I send out that text blaze on every single one of them, because I want them to follow me. I may not get them all. If I get 3%, 4% that actually follow the store or do set like our store, that's a win to me. So, and I'm not doing anything extra. I'm still sending out an offer. I'm just not sending out the offer the way that, you just click the button and send it and it says, here's a great offer, whatever the temporary text is in there. So I send it out and I do a little bit different. So anyway, it came up with this great prompt, and I am going to share that prompt to you guys if you really want to use it. If you don't, that's fine. But it will, it basically just tells how to set up the listing and how to do that, and it goes through and gives a description. It tells how it wants to be done, and then I just did an example of one, and I thought it came out pretty good. So it actually, I just threw a picture in and tried it, and it was a car. It was just a car, actually, a small car. Now, one thing I will say, and I heard this on the Trash to Cash this morning. Those guys were talking about AI a little bit, and I thought it was interesting, but Dave said he thought ChatGPT was getting dumber. I don't quite disagree with him, because you got to think there's a lot of people inputting information in there right now, and you have to know enough to know that it's not right if it's not right. But I look at it and I go, okay, that looks pretty darn close. Like the titles, it does a great job on. The descriptions, it does a great job on. The comps, it hasn't done a great job on. So that's an area that I'm going to keep trying to work on and try to hone it down to see. But like I put in a Tony Stewart number 20 rigid cast 164 car collectible from NASCAR, and new in the box. So it's a little collectible car. I just took a picture of it and said, run this, let's do it. So it did come back with a good title. And it did come back with a nice description all the way down. But the sold comps, it said average of $14 to $22. Not really. I was probably closer to about 10 or maybe $8 to $10, and that's maybe with shipping. So some of them not that much. That's why I lot those up when I find them. But they're cool little cards. I won't buy the big ones anymore, but I like the little ones. So I'll sell those. But anyway, so it does give this information. I just thought it was kind of cool. I will share that with you guys if you like it. It will also, if you want, you can actually tell it to put it into a CSV. Yeah, spreadsheet. Sorry, I had CVS on my mind. But you can actually put it into a template, a spreadsheet, and upload a whole bunch of them at one time. So that is an option as well. So if you want to do faster listings, you can do a quick upload and then go through and do your drafts and then do each one, add the pictures and stuff. So a lot of stuff you can do that makes it really simple. But I'll share that with you guys too. So, let me know if you use it, if you like it. If you don't, leave some comments, guys. I love the comments. I've been getting a lot of comments. This channel's growing slowly, and I appreciate you guys so much. So if you haven't had a chance, you got this far. If you got this far, thank you. But if you've gotten this far and you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button so you know what's coming up next. We're just trying to grow this channel so that we can share and share with the community and meet community, and just like I've met a lot of people off this. I've met a lot of people doing Dibdit. I've been having a lot of fun. Just recently got made a moderator over on Dibdit, which is an honor to me because now because I'm on a lot of auctions, and it's good. It's fun to be that and to be kind of also kind of an ambassador to them as well, because I like what these guys have done over there. I like what they're doing, and we're going to keep doing it. It's a lot of fun. Again, we're going to have an auction on Thursday night for comics at 7 p.m. dibdit.com. Use Breeze Flips, get $5 off your first purchase of $10 or more. And I'm going to be doing some really cool stuff on Thursday and next week as well. So I run every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. So come check us out. But let me know if you guys use any of this in this prompt. Let me know what you think, good or bad. AI is not going to change the world, and I do still believe in my heart that AI is just a tool, It is not going to make you a better seller. It is to help you do more with less time. So that's really what the goal of the AI is. It's not to replace you. It's not to replace your common knowledge or your common sense. It is definitely not that. It is to help you. It is a helper tool. You can use it for a lot of stuff. You can take pictures while you're at garage sales and get information about things. You can use it to do newsletters. I use it to analyze resellers. I use it to analyze videos. I use it to analyze formulas on spreadsheets. I use it to analyze Salesforce stuff, a lot of stuff that I'm doing over there in coding for my actual job. I mean, it is a tool, but I also am smart enough to know this doesn't look right, right? So you kind of got to know your subject before you kind of do it, because ChatGPT is not always going to be right. And one thing that they said on Trash to Cash this morning, I kind of agree with Dave. I think they're holding back the best one. I still think there's newer versions out there, and a law just got passed today that says that copyrighted material can now be used to train AI, which that means books, all these different things are going to be in there that they don't need permission from the author to do that, because it's common whatever knowledge or common information, so that it's available out there, so they should be able to use it without permission. So I think it's going to get smarter and smarter. I think it's going to get better, but will it take over all of our stuff and do it for us? I don't know. I don't think it will. I think we're still going to have to be, smart enough to use the tool and smart enough to know what's right, what's wrong on it. So let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. But again, it's a great tool, and it saves me a lot of time on the stuff I'm doing, and I hope that I'm able to save you guys some time as well. So I hope you guys have a great week. We'll put out another end of the week episode probably, or at least the beginning of the next week, so depending on what's going on this weekend. But I hope you guys have a great week. I hope your sales are up. I hope you stay safe. I'm David Beck from Breeze Flippers. We'll see you.